for you about. Al Franken, he's going to leave office in disgrace in the next few weeks. 7 women accused him of sexual misconduct before he became a senator. And on the Senate floor today, he accepted some blame, I think, but said he didn't recall events the same way as some of his accusers, and he flat out denied some of the other allegations. A few weeks ago, you might recall, Senator Franken seemed more contrite and apparently convinced his record as a senator could actually help him ride out this storm. Well, it didn't happen. Joining me right now, Angela Morabito. She's with Stand United, a petition platform for people with conservative values. Rashad Gaines may join us later. He's in Rude, stuck in traffic. He's the Democrat, the more progressive in this conversation. What did you think of Senator Franken and his bow-out speech today?
Well, he went down swinging. He was not going to go down without a fight, and it became extremely clear that he was forced out by Democratic leadership. He sort of expressed a little bit of regret in passing, but it came off as him being very sorry for something he still says he did not do. So that part doesn't make sense, and I think people pick up on that.
Yeah, he had a chance, to take one for the team and perhaps help Democrats out, because they clearly, they want to give the impression they're taking the moral ground. They plan to use this as a political weapon next year. I'm not sure Franken gave them what they needed today. What do you think?
Well, he does and he doesn't. And as far as using this as a political weapon next year, they're going to use this as a political weapon next week when Alabamians go to the ballot, go to their polling places to vote for generally either Roy Moore or Doug Jones, who's the Democrat on the ticket. So what this does, and for conservatives, this is kind of a complete nightmare. But now the party of Bill Clinton, Ted Kennedy, Al Franken, John Conyers, because Franken stepped down today, they are now claiming the moral high ground on the issue of sexual misconduct in the workplace. And do
you have any sense of what's likely to happen in Alabama? Because you still have that big discourse of, you won't tell us what to do. We'll decide this. And so what goes on in Washington, whether it be the Republican leadership or Democrats, you just get the impression that the conservatives in Alabama, including the women, are not going to allow them to tell them how to vote this race.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of merit to that people who live in a certain place and are able to be represented by a certain person. Why should people who don't get to vote get to have any say? Well, this is a really stunning moral failure, and of course people are going to talk about it. So I fully understand and completely respect Alabama. Make your own decision. It's up to them to vote.
I also heard, though, that females on the Republican side, once Roy Moore gets here, should he win, they have the chance to do the same thing that Democrats did on Capitol Hill today. They can force Roy Moore into certain situations, and certainly an ethics committee investigation.
Absolutely. I think that would be entirely fair. I think it is more than fair for Roy Moore to finally say something. He's got 9 accusers, and he's still denying everything up against overwhelming evidence that people will say it's fake, it was fabricated, it was this, it was that. It comes from the Washington Post, which, yeah, they report on it, but it comes from Roy Moore.
The evangelicals, what are they likely to do, okay? Given the allegations against Roy Moore, we know they're staunch conservatives. Do they put the morality issue aside and go with the political side? What do they do? Or do they stay at home?
I think a lot will stay at home. I think you're going to see a lot of write-in ballots. There have been at least one high-level official from Alabama has said that he wrote in a respected Republican and he did not cast his vote for Roy Moore. I have a feeling, and in a couple weeks, I'm going to be so interested to see this. There are no people more loved in Alabama than Nick Saban and Gus Malzahn. So I expect that both of those football coaches are going to get a lot of write-in ballots because people are fed up with their political options.
Let me get you to weigh in on this. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine says data on all the sexual harassment claims against members of Congress. He expects to get that information. He plans to make that information available, especially in those cases where taxpayer dollars have been used to settle these claims. I'm sure you're for that. That's a good move.
Absolutely. And there's been even a bipartisan push. There have been some people who have advanced a bill in Congress that says unseal the deals and shut down the slush fund. Some people call it the hush fund. It is unfortunately both. If our money's going to go to pay for it, we ought to know what's happening there.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think there's bipartisan support for that. Angela, thanks a lot for that. Sexual